Welcome back, attractive and well-educated watchers, to this channel. Prepare for a somewhat long-winded intro today. This, you may not know, is our Science and Debunk channel. We've recently changed the name to reflect our actual real-life titling beyond the screen. That's right, we are legally a Lord and a Reverend. In good standing with our ministry at that, we pay our dues. That first part's pretty easy in this day and age of internet gift parcel grants and all that. However, many of you probably didn't know really about the latter, or if you did, you probably didn't think about it. Once upon a time, we were an immensely spiritual person, and frankly, we weren't quite that different from the channel we're going to be covering today. We're trying out a new system on this channel, and part of that is leaving the video selection somewhat up to you guys. With that in mind, we put up a poll on our Twitter and got an immense engagement compared to what we usually get. And at no point did spirit science ever get under 38% of the vote. It was pretty constant. Now, we cannot stand spirit science. To us, the entire channel seems like a cultified version of what we used to believe, plus anything and everything that's religious and or completely ridiculous from the past, and topped off with a bunch of shit we frankly couldn't make up ourselves, and we make fantasy worlds as part of our job, so that's... yeah. Suffice to say, we have feelings about all of this, but, in the nature of this new style we're trying to go for, we're going to stick out for you guys. We are nothing if not democratically oriented. Next, we also want to apologize for taking so long on this project after the poll. We've had a lot of stuff going on beyond the screen here at the farm, including but not limited to getting a couple of adorable puppies. More than that, we struggled for a while just figuring out how we want to approach this channel again without ending up seeming like either Sir Sick or one of those channels that constantly spits out what logical fallacies their interlocutors are using. For the record, we're inclined toward the latter, but we can't deny the temptation of the former. Regardless, this channel, going forward, at least in regards to debunking crazies on the internet, will be primarily focused on revealing charlatans for who they are in front of the world, as evidence enough to simply ignore what they are saying and abandon their gospels. In our experience, one is most capable of taking down a dishonest opponent when the dishonesty is made properly apparent for all to see. Thanks for listening, now let's get on to the show. Let's ride! Ha! We are going to press X to doubt, like, right away. Oh, man. We don't... Sorry to just be completely fallacious here, but we don't know anything that spirit science has made that is for educational purposes. Although, we are glad that they are saying to be mindful and respectful of cannabis laws and regulations, because, you know, let's be real, nobody wants to go to jail over some weed. Do puff pass responsibly, though. That's for real. And remember to pass. Don't be a Bogart. We got a better one for you. Science is more than a body of knowledge. It's a way of thinking. A way of skeptically interrogating the universe with a fine understanding of human fallibility. If we are not able to ask skeptical questions, to interrogate those who tell us that something is true, to be skeptical of those in authority, then we're up for grabs for the next charlatan, politician, or religious who comes ambling along. That's you, spirit science. That's you he's talking about. Carl Sagan would 100% not approve of you using his words for your agendas. Your cult-like agendas.
Hello, everyone. Great to see you.
Oh, we wish we could say the same for you.
As you're probably aware, Canada just legalized cannabis.
Yeah, about 4 years too late. We're an Oregonian, by the way. We legalized in 2014. Interestingly enough, this is 4 years after that, and that's how far back we had to go for spirit science to stop being terrifying to look on. That being said, yeah, no, congratulations to Canada for getting their shit together and legalizing cannabis, because cannabis has, like, literally been part of the human experience since forever.
As residents of this country, the Spirit Science crew felt that there was no better time for us to open up and talk about cannabis and its influence in our lives and the world.
Yeah, actually, cannabis has been incredibly influential throughout pretty much all of human history. First and foremost, it was pretty much the main thing that we made rope with for a long time, and still continues to be a big thing that we make rope with, alongside all of its various different medicinal and practical values, its cooking, how it obviously stokes up a bunch of political drama, and the fact that at least here in the United States of America, our founding charter, the Constitution of the United States of America, was literally written on hemp paper. So it's pretty important. It's influenced a lot of people. On that, we can definitely agree with spirit science.
Truth is, for a really long time, I found it difficult to discuss cannabis and other types of psychoactive plants because they're
illegal. Yeah, that's good. No, we like that one. We liked Pineapple Express. That was a fun movie. We like Seth Rogen too, so that's a big thing.
So I often kept the conversation on the down low, choosing to focus on other things with spirit science.
And see, here's what we first of all have to bring up on spirit science. Cannabis and the discussion around it, what we feel about it, how we should interact with it, how we should treat it, these are real, actual discussions that actually affect our lives. But instead, spirit science has chosen to waste their time and everybody else's with some bullshit sacred geometry nonsense that has not been proven to anybody in the world. So this is where we're going to quickly start breaking down, obviously, with our thoughts on spirit science and what we would have done and what they should have done. Just because something is illegal does not mean you should not talk about it. In fact, it means you should talk about it more. These sort of things are necessary in our standard Western democratic system. The ability, at least here in America, the right to talk about these sort of things is enshrined in our Constitution. We have the right to complain and spread information about these sort of things without government reprisal. We don't know how it is in Canada, but certainly here, there's no problem with us going out onto the internet and being like, cannabis good, this is YMK, or whatever. That was never a problem. If you feel strongly about your position, you're not afraid to talk about it.
However, it's such an important conversation because cannabis can serve as a powerful bridge between spirituality and science, or experience and measurement.
And so now spirit science immediately descends into false dichotomies, things that don't fit together, and outright bullshit jargon nonsense. The difference between experience and measurement they aren't mutually exclusive. You can experience something and measure it at the same time. More importantly, there is no bridge between spirituality and science, because spirituality by definition deals with the supernatural and science only concerns itself with the natural world. This goes to show that spirit science is not looking to actually adequately and accurately tell you about cannabis. They're looking to use cannabis for their own purposes, for the purposes of their cult, to get the spirit science definition of cannabis out. It has nothing to do with science.
Now, there is a brilliant man named David Schmader who recently did a TED Talk called Stoners Coming Out, which sets the stage for this conversation in a really articulate way.
My gods, man. Have you ever read a book? Can you read? You know, the guy wrote a book, right? It's called Weed, the User's Guide. And he doesn't even frickin' tell you how to decarboxylate your weed in an oven. Like, come on, man. It's not saying that, like, he's not a good writer or anything, but the dude has written one publication on cannabis. He's a playwright. He wrote Showgirls. Like, he's not the magical spiritual leader of cannabis. Long story short, if you want to watch the TED Talk, just go watch it. We're not here to listen to that nonsense stuff. And for the record, he does put together, it's a good book. Weed, the User's Guide is a smartly written primer on cannabis. It's just, you know, it's not the be-all and end-all. It doesn't make him a genius, and he's certainly not the authority on cannabis and its spiritual nature or whatever. Let's just skip past Mr. Schmader. As we said, it's a good book. It's not really necessary for this video.
This talk is relevant for several reasons. The first is that now that cannabis is becoming legalized, we have to change and evolve our stereotypes and our understanding of what it is. which is one of the purposes of this very spirit science episode.
And see, no, that is where you are wrong. Spirit science, you are wrong in this. We do not have to change and evolve our understandings and so on. We have to correct them. What we thought before was wrong. We did not understand cannabis before. Now we have the technology and experience to do so. So we do not need to change our stereotypes and evolve our understandings. We need to learn to understand, and we need to stop stereotyping, because stereotyping is shitty, and learning is better than evolving our understanding. Because if you don't actually learn about something, you don't understand it.
The other thing he mentioned, though, about using cannabis to engage with art and ideas and what have you, is something I want to bring our focus to. This concept I recently heard elsewhere, but in an entirely different way. It was the scientist Dr. Alan Lightman, who said something very similar in a debate that he had with Richard Dawkins.
For those of you who do not know, Alan Lightman is a novelist, astrophysicist at MIT, an essayist, and he, in this particular debate that they're talking about, got hella spiritual and religious and everything at Richard Dawkins about how he got really stoned one time in a boat, and while he was really stoned, he looked up at the stars, and because he was really stoned looking up at the stars, he was sure that he felt an experience that could not possibly be quantified, and he's full of shit because, of course, if you experience something, you can quantify it. That's kind of how being alive and living works in the real world. And in fact, the feelings that you have can actually be directly measured as you get them. And do correct us if we're wrong in the comments section, but we believe that field is called bioinformatics.
Ah, thank you, Alan. That was beautiful. Now, this had absolutely nothing to do with cannabis. I choose to share this with you today, though, because I believe it explains a beautiful phenomenon of life, a sense of quantum conscious engagement, where you experience something beyond yourself in a profound way.
And, of course, now Blue Boy is going to absolutely go out of his way to take somebody completely out of context and apply those statements to something that fits his personal agenda, topped off with some delightful word salad that means absolutely nothing, but sounds nice so it'll pull you in.
To bridge the spirit and the science, all we have to do is look to Dr. Carl Sagan. Most people don't know this, but this famous scientist was actually a closeted advocate for cannabis and its legalization.
Again, it's completely fucking disgusting that you're using Carl Sagan to fit your own personal spiritual agendas when he himself was absolutely against your kind of people. He had what he called a baloney detection kit, and everybody is encouraged to use it, and you're making the baloney detection kit go completely off the rails right now. It is blasting through every hall of the building, deafening anybody who does not have the good sense to wear earplugs around your video with their baloney detection kits on. Like, seriously. There is no bridge between the science and the spiritual. Carl Sagan did not approve of that. He was an atheist. And he specifically went out of his way, as mentioned earlier, to absolutely advise people to not listen to people like you. Charlatans, political and religious, who's trying to just use somebody. That's what you're trying to do. You're just trying to use somebody. Do not invoke Carl Sagan's name so disrespectfully. It's also amazing how you call him closeted, considering that he was publicly in support of cannabis and specifically went out of his way to track its history back in the early 70s. Like, that's not super closeted. He was actually an extremely open advocate for cannabis legalization, and specifically said in at least one of his words that it may or may not have been one of the first plants that we cultivated.
And spoke on it as something which helped him to better understand himself, art, music, and lovemaking.
Yes, many substances can make individuals more receptive to being mindful or the qualities and traits and states of mind of other people. This is not a magical cosmic thing. This is chemistry. This is actually how these things are supposed to work. If you eat a bunch of mushrooms and trip face and think you talked to God for a while, that's actually what the chemical does. That's actually what it's supposed to do. I mean, we're sure the mushroom didn't exactly, make the decision to make you trip, but that's what it does. It doesn't mean it's spiritual. It means you're tripping face. Thanks so much to everyone who made it to this video and watched all the way through. We're glad to be getting another channel going, and we hope that everyone likes what they saw here today. We will, if people so desire, be making more of these videos in response to the cannabis video that Spirit Science has made, and eventually moving on to other topics. For now, we're just happy that we can make what the majority of the voters asked. Thanks everybody for coming. If you liked what you saw here, remember to like, subscribe, and do all of those other lovely things that help support the channel. Go on down to our Linktree link in the description. Find all of the other various different places that we do stuff and support us there. Share this video if you can, and if you're an especially attractive and well-educated watcher, and you want to support this channel directly, please do consider going on down to our Patreon via that Linktree link in the description, and pledge even just $1 a month to help support the cause, help support us, and join the mighty, mighty ranks of Mike the Microphone, our #1 patron of all time, and Tulpanzer, our #1 watcher of all time, as well as all of the other patrons, and get your name here on the credits. Thanks a bunch, everybody, for coming and staying this long. Stay safe, stay inside, stay healthy, and of course, remember to help each other. Bye!